Well, good morning, everybody. It is 7:37, and I know your time is extremely valuable. I appreciate you being on. I know I am recording this. I just need you to know that, so that you're aware, because there were several parents who couldn't be here live. Oh, we have a cat. Is that a kitty cat? That's a puppy.
Reese wanted to show it to you, so it's new.
Oh
Oh, it's
my
adorable.
goodness.
Okay, Reese, thank you.
I might have to walk over and love on that puppy.
It's a long ways.
Yeah, it's a long ways. So I wanted to make sure that that we gave an overview, and I sent a couple of links out in my last email. I don't know if you had a chance to look at to look at the YouTube link. So I'm gonna share one of them, and then we're gonna walk through Schoology. And I guess one of my questions that you can be thinking about is, have you had a chance to log in as a parent? And so that might be something that we may have to kind of look at. And then I'll walk you through a couple of teachers' pages so I can show you how they have it organized and some things to look at. So I'm going to share my screen right now, so you're not going to see everybody at one time. And then we'll watch this one video. Let's see.
Welcome, parents! As your child begins a new school year, their teachers will be using Schoology as the central hub for education. With Schoology, your child will communicate, turn in work, complete assessments, and keep organized all in one place. Let's take a look at how you can navigate Schoology as a parent and how you can use the platform as a window into your child's digital classroom. Login procedures will vary from school to school. Check with your school or district for information on logging into Schoology as a parent. We'll include some basic tips and instructions in this parent resource kit. After logging in, you'll land on the home screen. The first time you log in, you'll default to your own parent account, as indicated by your name in the upper right corner. You might see updates from the school administration here, and if you are personally a member of a group such as the PTA or Booster Club, there may be updates and information for you here. To view information specific to one of your children, click your name in the upper right corner and select your child. You are now viewing the Schoology courses, groups, and updates that your child sees. However, you as a parent are simply viewing this information and are not able to act as your child in the courses. Your child must first log in as him or herself to engage with the content. Your first stop in your child's Schoology overview is the feed. If you don't land on the student activity feed by default, you can easily toggle from the top of the screen. In the student activity feed, you will see posts made by people in the courses and groups your child is a part of, as well as school-wide announcements for things such as device pickup, fundraisers, or Spirit Week. Click Courses in the top menu to review a list of courses your child is a member of. Or toggle to the Enrollments view to see your child's current grade as they are recorded in Schoology. Click on a course title to see complete course content. Or review items listed in the upcoming.
I'm here.
Click on an assignment title to jump directly to the content with due dates in the near future. Overdue items are also listed in the screen. Overdue items are course materials whose due date has passed and the student did not submit anything. Review work and see grade information for items your child submitted. Click the material type in the Recent Grades area and select a specific item. You now see the item in the course. Read the description, including requirements written by the teacher, and click on the student's submission to see the content. If your child is a member...
Okay, somebody just said that you're not seeing the video, and I apologize. User error here.
But cannot participate or post on their albums.
Whoops. I moved this, and this just
Of a
goes to
group that
show.
meets outside of normal classes, such as a club, extracurricular activity, or sports team, click Groups in the top menu. Here you'll see a list of all groups your child is a member of. Click on a group name to view content. Remember, you are only viewing the content of your child's courses and groups. Your child will need to log in as him or herself in order to see the option to participate in discussions, make assignment submissions, and complete assessments.
So I'm gonna go back just a minute on this page, and then I'm gonna kind of walk you through. So what you were listening to, unfortunately, I had moved this over to a different screen, and so you didn't see that. Thank you, Mecca, for letting me know. So this would be the kind of the view that you might see on your student's page. Over to the right of the page, you might see some recent grades, you might see overdue, and you might see some calendars things. Those calendar items could be a little overwhelming, so we've asked our students to go into the course before panicking on the calendar items as we're walking through. But within this, the difference between this and for those of us who were in Google Classroom, you can actually go in as the parent and click on the assignments and see the assignments, and you can actually see if they're submitted or not submitted. So those are some benefits of this as we're walking through. I'm going to go ahead.
I have one question.
Yes.
With cohort A and cohort B,
Yes.
I'm struggling with my son because like it says that it's overdue, and he says with the cohort B folder he don't have a due, but the cohort A he has to do. And I don't know if he does it like twice or what.
Really, no, they only have to do it once. And so that could be some confusion and lack of instructions on our part. But they shouldn't have to, they're not having to do both.
Okay.
Okay.
It's coming out that cohort, it comes up that the assignment's overdue, and then he shows me that it's done, but it's saying cohort B or the extended learners or something like that.
Sure, sure. Let me share with you the page, and then we'll go from there. Does that sound okay? I mean, to start sharing that. Okay, let me get my Schoology up, and then we'll go from there. And I'll kind of walk you through some of the things that you need. So has everybody on this call already, you've all logged into your students' Schoology page? Can you give me a thumbs up? You haven't had access to that, Megan, yet?
No, and I don't have a password. I went back through my emails and I haven't been given that information.
Okay. We are sending that out, but I'll get that to you today. Your passcode, okay?
Thanks.
That will be beneficial. Annette, have you been able to log in? You don't have a passcode either? Okay. We'll make sure we get those out. Wendy, you're able to? Awesome. All right. Since we have, many of you are sixth grade parents, I think, on here, I'm gonna share my, my screen right now for Mrs. Zint's ELA, just so you have an idea of what that looks like. There we go. So I'm considered an admin on this page. So as I'm going through it, and when you see this as students, really you want to look at down here. If you have a remote learner, this is the page that you would log into. Cohort A, some of you are in cohort A and cohort B. So we'll open up cohort A so you can see, let me see if it has a different view. If I just open it this way, then you can see what they're doing on their daily grammar. This is what they're doing for the week. And you can see that they've put some dates on that. They're going to be organizing more today. So you may find that there's a folder within cohort A that might be of a week. So last week's stuff, and then this week's items would go in here. But you can see where they are with this, with the assignments. If your student was in cohort B, then they would open up the cohort B, and that's what they would be responsible for in looking at that.
Okay.
Okay, so definitely cohort A and cohort B. Now, if I were to, I'm going to go to a different course. So let's just say 6th grade science might be one that's important to look at, because she's got it organized very similarly. Now notice she didn't have all the instructions at the top of it. The first thing that students did on September 4th was all about science. This is cohort A assignments. Remote learners are here in cohort B assignments. And notice that there's a theme in the 6th grade. Cohort A is always the red folder, the yellow folder is always the remote, and blue is always the B for blue. So if we were to look in the cohort A folder, she has it organized a little differently. And like I said, today's the day that they will be working on some Schoology, getting things in there. If I were to go to cohort A the week of the 14th through the 18th, so she had a few assignments. Now for you as a parent, as you're clicking on your student's assignment, you would see up in the right-hand side whether it was submitted or not submitted, and you can actually see what the assignment was. So you can look at students' progress. How I would use Schoology as opposed to PowerSchool right now. PowerSchool is going to indicate finality of assignments and what those assignments were worth. If you want to check the progress of your students, logging into Schoology will probably be a better indicator for you. And like I said, you can see at the top where your child is at that point.
Hey, Karen, I have a question. Have the submission glitches been worked out?
Have the submission glitches been worked out? I think a lot of things are getting worked out right now. We were having some submission issues with Google, and part of that was user error, whether it was on the student side or the teacher side. It was important for them to change the permission settings for that, and that was kind of a roadblock. And I think it's a process. So if we didn't follow that process when we submitted, then it didn't link properly. And so
And then is every assignment that one is to type in, are they all going to be going through Kami, or will some of them be allowed to be Google Docs?
yeah, they are using Google Docs as well, as well as.
So they're using both?
Yep.
Okay.
They're using both. There's they may be videoing as well, depending on what they're doing. The teachers are learning and getting a little more comfortable with it. You know, as I go through and I look at the progression and how they're organizing it. So that's where I think some of our confusion has been. Students tend to look at the top of the page and they don't follow down. And so we're reorganizing to make sure that the most important things are at the top. The other thing that we're finding is that students aren't necessarily reading the directions. So if there's a video in there, they don't read the directions of what they're supposed to do. They just go to the video. And you know, I'm guilty of that. I want to cut to the chase. And so sometimes I cut corners, and I think we're working on that process with students. Make sure you read the directions of what you're supposed to do before you click on that video, and before you start doing the assignment. There's some really good things that the teachers are doing. They're putting some video instruction within the assignment, so that the students, when they're not there, they can see the teacher as they're explaining. We're working on videoing parts of the instruction from the class when they're not here, so that can be embedded. The nice part about that is a student could go back and look at it. What I would suggest right now to all parents is, if you see a 0 in the grade book, don't panic. Right now, we're really worried more about the learning than we are at that final product. And I know we're conditioned to think of the 0s and the Fs, and that's something that we're stressing. And we don't want to give you misinformation. And so as we're working through some of our own growing pains using this, if you have a question, I would say just email the teacher if it's not clear that of what the progress is.
Well, and I don't want to make any more work for the teachers, because I know that they're working their tails off. Jolanda's class, the way that she had it itemized by week, that was really helpful, because when I see that list, and I know that when Lucas sees the list, it is overwhelming. But I did like the way that Jolanda had it organized by weeks, and I don't know what those steps are to get it that way. And if it's too many steps, then the teachers probably shouldn't have to do it, and we can just obviously read the directions and learn how to read dates, Lucas.
Well, and that isn't anybody's fault, and part of it is we're learning better how to organize it, not necessarily how we want it organized, but how students might see it as well. And so when students aren't here, when your kiddos aren't here, I guess my ask of parents, we don't expect you to homeschool. This is remote learning. It's more of the practice and the support for the students and encouraging them to do what they need to do. And you saw my email where I said, their engagement when they're not here is important as well. We don't expect any kid to be hunkered down for 6 hours watching a screen. Although I have a son who's 19 in video games for 12 hours at a time, so I know it's possible. It's not good. And so we don't want that for our kids, but we want to give them good learning time when they're not here, to continue them to move forward in the curriculum. So we're seeing good progress, quite honestly. And it's more of a routine when they're not here. And that's where you as parents are so valuable in terms of supporting your kids and just saying, have you gotten on today? We're talking about routines with kids. Just as adults, we check our email. So, hey kiddos, let's check our email first, because you might have a really important message from your teacher that says you don't have to do something, or maybe they had to change the assignment or the directions for a reason. So it's more of an alert. We ask them that's the first thing, especially when they're not here, that's the first thing that they do in the morning after they have breakfast and do their home routines. But then get on Schoology and see, okay, what is it? Do I have an assignment today that I have to complete? Do I need to do a little bit of reading? What is it that I need to do? So that engagement piece is really important, and what we hope that all parents can kind of support us with. I've been extremely impressed by our students and what they are doing. So yeah, there are some frustrations of, what do we need to do? And I'm going to share one more time. Are you all sixth grade parents? And I know, Megan, you have one at the high school too. But I'll share one more time. And this is Mrs. Tuttle's class, so you can see that. So Mrs. Tuttle, again, it's cohort B is blue. Remote learners are yellow, and cohort A is red. So I'm going to go to cohort B, And this is for this week, and she has two basic things. If I were to click on this, she says, hope you're doing well. Please watch the slideshow and fill out the PDF with Cami. And so the slideshow is that first link that's embedded in here. And then there are different exercises that students have to go through. And when it says open with Cami, the students know how to do this, but they would click Cami over to the right. And Cami's cool because they can actually, and now it's having me do all sorts of crazy stuff. But they can write on Cami, and so this is a fillable PDF, and then they can submit it. Some of the complication is then where do they submit? And they have to, I believe, save this, and then they go back to the assignment and save it and share it back, submit from there. So that's something that that I think is really kind of a cool thing. I know that in math, that Mrs. Koslerich, sorry, she has some papers, some handouts that she's sending home. They also have that online, but she felt that it was important for students to have something that was tangible. So you may find that that is on there. She will just have to go into Schoology and report the grade for that, for the students on that. So then Mrs. Tuttle also has some different activities for what cohort B was supposed to be doing. So on Monday, they were to be working on these items. Most of the time, students should not have more than 2 hours of work in a day. We really want to limit that screen time. That's pretty important. Now, if they're behind and they didn't get things done maybe the previous day or before that even, they may have more than 2 hours, but typically they may have half an hour. It may be that they're clicking right along and they're able to get it done pretty quickly. So that would be something I would, you just have to gauge and look and see, did they actually submit the assignment? So like I said, as a parent, when you get in there, you'll be able to look around. And I'll be sending codes out, but one of the best ways to look at your child's Schoology is to have them sit next to you. Mecca, that would be a great idea.
Yeah, it will be.
Mecca, do you want to talk through that for a minute?
Sure, if I could find my microphone here. Sorry about that. It'll take me just a second to find everyone's codes. So if you have other things to share, Karen, I'll send them privately in a chat so that you have them. Everybody has their own code then.
Okay. For all of you, Mecca Wallace-Spurgeon is our awesome technology director. She knows everything. And if she doesn't, we think she does. So I'm probably boasting a little bit more. Megan has worked with her pretty closely too. So she's going to send you in the chat box your student's code if you didn't have that, and then she'll walk us through how to get on there.
So I know Megan's children, but Wendy, if you could tell me, if each of you could tell me your student at Howard that you would like your codes for, I'll grab them real quick.
We already got our codes.
Perfect.
I'm the one that had the wrong student in there the first time.
Oh,
Yes.
Hey, Mecca, I have a couple of those I'll be sending to you.
I need Kinley Harvey's.
And
Can I
then,
get sorry, can I get Trevor Klinkenbeard's?
Yep.
Trevor Klinkenbeard.
Yep, I got that. And then Annette, I think I missed what you said.
Oh,
Harvey.
that was it.
Okay.
Kinley Harvey.
Okay, it'll take me just a couple minutes here.
so while she's doing that, I'll share my screen real quick. There's one more thing I want to show you.
Parent accounts in Schoology were designed to give parents read-only access to their children's activities inside the LMS. It's important to recognize that parent accounts have certain limitations when compared to active student accounts. Parent accounts are not able to participate as a student in any course or group activity. Here, you can see a student account accessing a discussion in Schoology. The student account can participate and post in the discussion. The parent account is able to see the discussion in some cases, but cannot post. Student accounts can submit assignments on Schoology. Parent accounts can view their children's submissions, but cannot submit on their children's behalf. Student accounts can attempt submissions of quizzes and assessments. Parent accounts are unable to do so on their child's behalf. Student accounts can post inside of media albums. Parent accounts can view the media in the album, but cannot participate or post on their child's behalf. Once again, if you would like to view your child's courses and activity in Schoology, you can use your parent account, where you will see the light blue box at the top that lets you know you're viewing as your selected child. However, in order for your child to complete their coursework, they must be logged in to their own student account.
Grammarly does more than catch errors.
Mecca,
Yes.
how are we doing?
So I missed again what Annette said. Annette, do you need your students' access code? And what's the name? Perfect, thank you. So Roxy and Megan and Wendy, she's already been in there, so I'll grab Kinley's real quick.
Now, today's Zoom meeting, is that just for the extended learners or for all of them?
It's designed for the remote learners, but if anybody wanted to get on, if they got the Zoom invite, they could get on. Today, though, if anybody's student needs to communicate with teachers, if they want to send an email for clarification, this is a great day to do that. They are working diligently at getting communication and feedback back to students.
Hey, I had 2 more questions.
Okay.
With these assignments, I know in Google Doc you can save as you go. Typically, if everything's working the way it should be, it just automatically saves it. Does the same happen with Kami? Is it a save as you go? Like, could you get, 3 questions completed out of 10 and then, oh, I gotta go rake some hay, I'll come back. And then also, are Power School and Schoology communicating, meaning like if something gets created in Schoology, does it automatically get entered into Power School, or are the teachers having to double enter, and maybe we need to be patient with Power School before we freak out and see a grade that we think deserves some explanation from my child.
So I'm going to start with your second question because I think you answered it yourself. We were having some problems with the syncing of Power School to Schoology, and so some of those grades aren't accurate. And that's part of user error, but part of our syncing process. And I know Miss Mecca has got a call in to Schoology to ensure that we're syncing in the right way. So don't freak out is my advice. I agree. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. And today, if it's not syncing properly for a student, they're manually putting in the grades in Power School so that they're accurate when they come to you in the mail for the progress reports. And so, yeah, that has been a learning curve, definitely. Down the road, we'll be very thankful that we don't have to do it in both places. The teachers are used to doing it in both places right now, but we're getting better at it. Your first question on Cami, I'm hoping Mecca has an answer because I'm not certain I know if Cami automatically saves as Google Docs did.
So what I'm hearing is with the free version, if teachers are using the free version, then students do not have the ability to save. Now, obviously, you know, if they're working through on a Google Doc, that's totally different. But if you're typing into a PDF or including images or things like that, and because we have the free version right now, but we are purchasing the premium version. So it would be important that the student not get out of it or to try to save it, because I have had reports that it does not save. And my guess is, again, it's because of the free version.
So if we got like 3 questions answered on a 10-question worksheet and we just closed the computer and then we opened it back up later, since we didn't exit out of it, would that still be there? Or when we close the computer, does it just erase it?
So on a Chromebook, it will sign them out automatically. And
okay.
so my guess is that would be gone.
Okay. Do you have any idea if it's not on a school issued Chromebook, what it might do?
I know when I close mine, because you know I'm the tab queen, Megan, that everything's still there. It's still open. So on just a regular computer, yes, it stays open.
Okay. Well, before we experiment with that in a high pressure situation, maybe I'll have him pull something up on our home laptop and see if it works. And then if it doesn't work, then he knows he needs to be a little more planful with his time. Thanks.
Sure. Okay, everyone has their codes. Would you like me to walk through how to get there, Karen, or did that cover it in the video?
I don't know. Parents, do you want time to do that on your own, or would you like Mecca to walk you through that? And I know, Wendy, you've already gotten on, and I can see that you're probably pretty engaged in checking that with our guy there. So he's doing great, by the way. Both of them.
I sent the link in the private chat, so it's important to know that you're just going to regular www.schoology.com, and then on the right hand side you'll see where it says sign up, and you get to choose as a parent. If you have more kiddos in your house than one, you'll have to put that access code, individual access code, in for your children. I'm not saying that this is a have to, but I also know that having the app on your phone has been beneficial for parents, rather than trying to go in. Not that it's bad to go in through a computer, but having the app on the phone, you get notifications and things like that. So just a suggestion.
So I guess a couple of things that you might need to or want to take some time is to get on Schoology, get logged in as the parent, and then maybe just kind of be familiar with how the setup is. And you might see some changes in that after today, because the teachers are working hard today at reorganizing and making sure that they've taken feedback from students and what they need to do to improve. So you may see some changes, but as a 6th grade parent, you won't see changes in that folder setup. And I believe 7th grade is the same, Wendy, as well as 8th grade. They're trying to set it up as easy as possible. So for students to get into and make sure that it makes sense. What's their first step? They're trying to be very specific with directions. And sometimes when they're not, it's because, you know, if you're giving somebody directions, it sounds good to you, but maybe the receiver needs to ask some clarifying questions. So we're definitely working on that.
Just one more thing. I can tell you're getting ready to log off, but I've been really impressed with the assignments coming home for Lucas. So kudos to those teachers. And I know that they're working really hard, and they're climbing up a steep learning curve called a mountain of Schoology, but they're doing a great job.
Our teachers are doing a great job, and our students are doing a great job. And that's one thing that we're trying to focus on is, you know, it is a learning curve, but I think in the long run, you as parents will have maybe more information on the progress of your student that you will have at your fingertips. And so as we're learning how to use it better, don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions, or if you run into a roadblock that maybe something doesn't make sense, whether it's, you know, the teacher needs to maybe give you an explanation. If that's it, if you need to reach out to me, certainly do that. We always talk about, you know, the first line of defense. Start at the level that you can get the information the fastest, and a lot of times that's right directly to the teacher when you ask them a question, or your student. And we're also trying to train our students to also be asking those questions. So that's something that might be important.
I would like to say thank you to all the teachers and to you for helping us as well as our children too.
Well, and I appreciate that. We know that this isn't the easiest thing to do, being in this hybrid and not having kids in front of us 5 days a week. I do have to say, we are distancing in the classrooms. We're seeing our illness numbers are declining, definitely, as well as our numbers.
I have another question. After October 2nd, are we going to just keep going with the cohort learning, or are we going to go back to full schooling, or do you know?
We are looking at our data right now and what's working, and so we'll have a school board meeting on Monday. There will be some dialogue and discussion with our board about what our next steps are. So by Tuesday next week, you'll have information on how we're going to move forward. And I don't have an exact answer on that right now. I do know that as complicated as it is for teachers and students and families, we are seeing our illness rates decline, you know, all in the high school and as well as the middle school. And that's actually translating into fewer illnesses at the elementary too, because of siblings. So we're looking at all of that right now. Megan had a question. One more question. Are students expected to engage online each day in order to avoid? Yeah, actually, we do want them to check in, and if they have assignments on the days that they're not here. So if they're a cohort A student, on Thursdays and Fridays, they should be checking in and doing some of their work. If they got it all done, then they're fine. That's not a problem at all. And that's something I went around to all the classrooms to explain. It's really important that they follow that routine. Check your email, check in to see if you have any assignments that you need to do. there might be some time that they get everything knocked out on Thursday. They don't need to do anything on Friday. And then as a family, if you have a family obligation, certainly just let me know. I'm just running reports right now between Schoology and Go Guardian of student activity, just to make sure that we're increasing our engagement. And Megan, I know as a teacher last spring, we're seeing better engagement right now.
So does Schoology keep track of every time that a student logs in?
It does.
Is that what you are using to track engagement?
I'm actually using Go Guardian more than I'm using, because I can see in Go Guardian exactly where they're going and what they're working on even in there. Whereas Schoology, I'm learning that too, but it'll tell me how much time they were in Schoology, but I don't know how to work that yet. So I'm using
I'm asking because, in my fantasy mother world, if Lucas were to get all of his Thursday and Friday assignments done today before 10 o'clock, even though he's not out of bed yet, would he possibly get in trouble if he were to not get on Thursday and Friday?
Well, I would like to say he's probably not going to get in trouble. If he's got everything in and I can see that, the teachers are kind of giving me some reports on that as well. Obviously, in a perfect world, kids could get everything done on a Wednesday and not have anything on Thursday and Friday. I would still encourage them to keep with that routine. When they get up, check your email, check Schoology, make sure you have everything done. If you have everything done, then you're done.
Okay.
Now with Go Guardian, could we download that on our phone or on our Chromebook, or is that just for the teachers?
Go Guardian is actually for administration and also teachers.
Oh, okay.
So we're able to view that. You won't get to. Go Guardian is something that kind of helps us protect students as well, so they're not getting into online internet trouble, making some decisions and going to places that they shouldn't be, as well as it helps us to redirect if they're having difficulty staying focused because they're off on a YouTube or they're trying to get into a game instead of doing their work. So that's kind of a security program for us. I don't know if I said the right thing, Mecca, but that's kind of how I'm viewing it right now. But as I learn more about Schoology and how to utilize it from an administration point of view, I'll be using that as much as possible.
Okay.
So I want to thank everybody for your time. I know you have lots of stuff going on today in your world as well. So I appreciate the questions and allowing us to answer questions as we work through. We are partners in this. And so we really appreciate the time that you've taken. And I know there are parents who will be watching this and be appreciative that you guys have had the opportunity to ask questions. Hopefully we'll be able to help them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and log us out. If you have any questions, certainly feel free to email. And students, the Wilson kids who are online in the car, have a good day today and make sure that you get your stuff done.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.